Previously on a very special
The Duel Logs Duel Log.
I send out a thing from Twitter, and then it's up to everybody to send me stuff. Is it stronger than Goku? Of course not. Apophis, the impending doomsday. During the main phase, if this card is in your hand, quick effect, you can activate this effect. Place this card from your hand to your field zone. This isn't a field card though. You can only use this effect of Apophis, the impending doomsday, once per turn. While this face-up card is on your field zone, it is treated as a field spell. Also, you cannot activate or set other field spells. Neither player can destroy this card with card effects. Each time a monster is normal or special summon, place one Doomsday counter on this card. If this face-up card in the field zone has 30 Doomsday counters, the players that summon this monster loses the duel. It should be 20. 30 is too much. You're never gonna hit 30. 20 is more doable. Basically, it's like Nibiru, except a win condition. And what you do with this card is you summon 19 times and then pass to your opponent. Then you wait for them to summon once and you win. 20 is too easy. No, it's not. Shut up. 20 is perfect. 30 is like deck out territory. Yeah. But I mean, summoning 20 times in one turn, wow, easier said than done unless you're playing Mayakashi, I guess. Quick effect, close forest, win condition. I don't think it prevents your opponent from using a field spell, does it? Also, you can activate or set other field spells. No, it just says you can't activate any others. The Flower Cardians, they do summon a lot. It's like a matter of what triggers the 30th. Botched in practice. I think 30 is too much. It's completely unviable at 30. It needs to be like 20 or something. Rikus and Evan probably can do 30, maybe 25. I think 25 is better too. Manticore of Darkness. Yeah, there are ways to trigger it, but they're not like good ways to trigger it. If you're trying to make this be like a hand trap that works against modern decks, 30 is too much. If you can summon 30 times, you should be able to summon Unicorn and bounce this card. Yeah, that's true. It also loses a Cosmic Cyclone or whatever. But that's not important. What is important is if you just leave it alone, you're just not going to lose because it's at 30. Anyways, excellent card. I give this one a 6 out of 10. Next up, we have Zakiels Silver Bullets, a quick play spell card. Banish one random card from your opponent's hand or extra deck. And if you do, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects of cards with the same original name as the banished card until the end of this turn. If your opponent reveals a card in their hand or extra deck this turn, you can get to choose the card instead. You can only activate one Zakiels Silver Bullet per turn. So the intended use of this card is that if your opponent reveals a Nibiru, you can use this in response in order to banish the Nibiru and negate its effects. It's kind of like a Called by the Grave, but for hand effects that generally dodge Called by the Grave. However, you know, if that's all it did, it would be kind of bad. So instead, it banishes the card randomly so that you just hand rip your opponent for one, which is also too good, especially on a quick play. It's like, I get what they're trying to do here. They were trying to create an anti-Nibiru card, or like, you know, other Nibiru-like cards like the Bestials. However, the downside, like the normal effect of it is, like, if it didn't have the effect to negate the card effects of the card, or if it didn't have the effect to also be able to pick the card you wanted and it was just a random card from your opponent's hand, it's too strong without any cost. Because ripping cards from your opponent's hand is sacred. Like, cards do not target your opponent's hand, like, ever. If they do, it has to be incredibly inefficient, or just like too hard to bring out. And normally, this card, using its bad effect, is already too good. Yeah, anti-hand trap cards can all suck it, by the way. Labyrinth Mommy. Labyrinth Mommy is a good example of a card which can rip cards from the hand that is hard to bring out. You have to use like Welcome Labyrinth and destroy a card. Like, it has conditions. It's not just activate a card from your hand on your first turn. You can't rip a card from your opponent's hand with Labyrinth Mommy on your first turn unless you go through hoops to do so. Under those circumstances, it's fine. This one is too generic for banishing the card from the hand. Machina Fortress hand rip is overpowered. Psh, nobody plays Machinas. We're talking about, like, you know, generic cards. There are in-archetype cards that can hand rip, but they usually require you to play, you know, an archetype for that. Drag down and drag down discards. Drag down gives your opponent a chance to look at your hand too. So it can't be used generically. It's basically only a Dark World card. Has a reaction with the trigger, it's a different story. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. As it is, the card is too strong potentially. If you want to keep it as a Nibiru counter, you would also need to have some cost to it where, like, you know, banish one card from your opponent's hand, and like after the effect resolves, you also banish one card from your hand unless it banished a card that was revealed. So like, if you want to use this as the intended way to stop Bestials and Nibiru, you can leave it as is, but you need like an extra clause that's like, and then if you banished a card that was not revealed with this effect, you have to also randomly banish one card from your hand as well. I think that would make it better, because then it's like, you can use it to rip your opponent's card, but it also rips your hand too, which honestly is still kind of strong, because you can just empty your hand of all your combo and just leave one card, and then that's the only one getting banished. It's like the same way Topologic Gumbler Dragon was used. Technically, you had to discard the same amount of cards you discard from your opponent's hand, but it was still too strong. Something like after this effect resolves, do the following. Yeah, exactly. Make it shuffle your card to the deck as cost. Yeah. In hindsight, yeah, it's too strong. There's more focus on making them as theme as Silver Bullet. Yeah. Like, I like the effect that it's trying to get rid of one of your opponent's cards, and also it does, like, specific counter cards need to be just generically useful as well. That's why Called by the Grave is so good, because it's useful for countering hand traps, but it can also just be used to stop other too. But ripping your opponent's hand randomly is just too strong for no cost, generically. Anyways, excellent card. We'll give this one a 6 out of 10. It's good against everything. It's no longer a silver bullet. Yeah, it's for like the gold bullet. Next up, Atlantean Sea Hunter. This is a card that exists already. Well, I mean the card art, This is a level 3 Sea Serpent. You can discard one water monster, draw 2 cards. Holy. If this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster effect, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effect until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. That's pretty good. I give this one a 5 out of 10. Fel Plague, the Red Eyes Lord. This is a Link 2 monster. 2 dragon monsters, including a Red Eyes monster. He doesn't even have red eyes. His eyes are blue. This is fake. This card's type is also treated as warrior while on the field or in the graveyard. If this card was link summoned using Fel Plague, the Red Eyes Squire as a material, this card cannot be targeted by your opponent's cards, effects, or attacks, while you control another Red Eyes monster. Once per turn, you can pay 2,000 life points and send a Red Eyes fusion from your hand or deck to the graveyard, or shuffle a Red Eyes fusion from your graveyard into the deck. This effect becomes a spell's effect with that card activated. You can only use this effect once per turn. Oh my god, this card's really good. For that one line of text, 2 dragon monsters, including a Red Eyes. So it's a Red Eyes card that actually basically has Verte's effect, but better. You can use it to bring out Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. No, it's not Verte, but better, because you can only bring this card out within archetype cards. So it's like an actual card created for Verte. Yeah, it's excellent for Red Eyes. This is definitely a good Red Eye support card. I give it a 4 out of 10. Great job. Next up, we have Poseidria, the Atlantean Dragoon Lord. Quick effect, you can tribute 1 water monster, special summon this card from your graveyard. Then you can return 1 spell trap on the field to the hand. You can target 1 water monster you control. That card has a level. That card level becomes the same as this card's. If this card is sent to the graveyard, activate a water monster effect. You can special summon 1 water monster from your deck, except Poseidria. Oh, it has an Atlantean effect actually. You can only use effect once per turn. It's like an easy to bring out Poseidon. They also have another card in the Atlantean archetype that basically does this, but attributes 3 monsters instead of just 1. So it's way better. And it's a quick effect too. Whoa, that's pretty good. You can special summon water monster from your graveyard. That's pretty good. We'll give it a 6 out of 10. Neptune, the Atlantean Ocean Lord. 3 link arrows. 3 water monsters, including a sea serpent monster. Cannot be destroyed by battle if you have 3 or more water monsters in your graveyard. Once per turn, during the end phase, you can target 3 water monsters in your graveyard, add 1 of them to your hand, and shuffle the rest into your deck. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send 1 water monster from your hand or field to the graveyard. Negate that card or effect, and then send it to the graveyard. You can only use effect once per turn. Oh my god, it activates the Atlanteans and also negates? Yeah, this is definitely something the Atlanteans would want. They can get 3 monsters in the field real easily. Does it go crazy and plunder? Really? I don't know how plunder works. I should really learn how to play them one of these days. Next up, we have Cyber Dragon Verwalden. This card's name is treated as Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, take a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck, and either add it to your hand or special summon it. You can only use effect once per turn. Yeah, an E-Telly for Cyber Dragon, yeah, that's pretty good. And it's also a Cyber Dragon. It's kind of like Cyber Proto, but like, what if Cyber Proto had a bad effect, you know? No attribute? Oh, I guess we can just assume it's light like all the other Cyber Dragons. Cyber Dragon Schlid. A link to a 2500 attack. Dang, that's a lot. 2 Cyber Dragons. This card's name is treated as Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. Your opponent cannot target Cyber Dragon monsters you control with card effects except this one. If a Cyber Dragon monster you control is destroyed by battle, no. If a Cyber Dragon monster would be destroyed, you can banish 1 Cyber Dragon from your graveyard instead. Oh, so it protects your Cyber Dragons. I don't think Cyber Dragons really need that, but it's still nice to have as an option anyway. Immune to Ghosts and Match. They should have an archetype of just like attribute-less cards. Next up, we have the Cosmic Dancers, a rank 2 jump scare. This card can also be XYZ summoned by banishing 2 or more level 2 monsters from your graveyard. If summoned this way, you can attach 2 monsters from your extra deck to this card as the XYZ materials for every 2 monsters banished to summon this card. You can only use the following effects of Cosmic Dancers twice per turn. Quick effect: you can detach 2 materials from this card to banish up to 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard, your opponent controls, or in their graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add up to 2 of your banished cards to your hand. Banish up to 2 cards from your opponent controls or in the graveyard. This card can also be executed by banishing 2 or more level 2 monsters from your graveyard. This card basically gives you non-targeting disruption that banishes from the field or graveyard, and also can summon itself with materials from the graveyard. It's not completely generic since it's only level 2 monsters, but it's basically like a Sprite super like Trident. It's like a Sprite Trident. It's really good. It can return banished. Wait, I didn't even see that card. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add up to 2 of your banished monsters to your hand. Oh, it does. It can target face down banished cards too. Way better than Trident. Yeah, this card is busted. Holy crap. This is such a Sprite player's wet dreams that it's almost amazing that you created it so broken and kept it into the level 2 theme. This card's great. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Next up, we have Arachno Subathon Timer. It is a continuous spell card. When this card is activated, you can either 1 Arachnid plush or 1 Mother Spider or 1 Father Spider, the TheDuelLogs, from your deck to your hand. Also place 1 sub counter on this card. Each time your opponent summons a monster, place 1 sub counter on this card. During your main phase, you can remove any number of sub counters, min 2 from this card. Apply the following effects in sequence based on the number of sub counters removed. 2+, all monsters in your graveyard become insect until the end of this turn. Oh my god, that lets you use Mother Spider. 3+, change up to 2 monsters your opponent controls to face up defense position. Wait, isn't there a card that lets you change the attributes of monsters in the graveyard? Oh my god, I could use it in Mother Spider decks. Anyways, change up to 2 monsters your opponent controls to face up defense position. Add an insect monster from your deck to your hand. Inflict fire damage to your opponent for each card they control. Inflict psychological damage to yourself equal to the sub counter left on this card. You can only use this effect of Arachno sub counter timer once per turn. You can only activate 1 of these cards per turn. It adds Mother Spider to your hand. It changes all the monsters in your graveyard into insects so that you can use Mother Spider. And also changes 2 of your opponent's monsters to face up defense position so you can bring out Mother Spider. Problem, you can't get 2+ sub counters on unless your opponent summons a monster. Yeah, your opponent needs to summon monsters, but you can just play in a Floodgate deck. Man, I remember the Subathon. That was awful. Next card. This one gets a 9 out of 10. Stardust Dragon Arc Fiend. It is a fusion monster that requires the Red Eyes Dragon, the Red Dragon Arc Fiend plus Stardust Dragon as its 2 materials. Gains 200 attack for each tutor monster in your... For each tutor monsters in the graveyards. Once per turn, during either player's turn, when a spell/trap card or another monster's effect is activated, you can discard 1 tutor monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the 1 card on the field. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 tutor monster and any number of non-tutor monsters you control, whose total levels equals 10, and if you do, special summon this card. Ooh. So it's an Omni Negate that gains a whole bunch of attack points, and also can bring itself back. That's pretty good. Shining Darkness Dragon. Must first be fusion summoned. This card's attribute is also treated as the Dark attribute. While you control this fusion summoned card, dragon monsters you control cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects your opponent controls. Gains 300 attack for each dragon monster on the field and in either player's graveyards. When your opponent activates a card or effect, a quick effect, you can discard 1 card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Ooh. It's basically another Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Yeah, it's pretty good. No once per turn? Oh, you're right about that. Next up, the Black Skull Magician. Ooh, I like this one. 1 Dark Magician plus 1 Arc Fiend monster. Wait, gains an attack for each monster on the field and in the graveyards. While you control a dark monster, your opponent cannot target other monsters you control for attacks. It's a dark monster. Also, your opponent cannot target other monsters you control with card effects. If this fusion summon card you control is sent to your graveyard by opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Dark Magician or Summon Skull from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Whoa, it was almost good. It almost did it. It only protects your board from being targeted, but not itself, and it only floats if it's sent to the graveyard, and it only summons 1 monster. You could have it so if this card is removed from the field, like in the same way Mirror Jade procs, it can activate its floating effect. You can have it summon both the cards back and it still wouldn't be that great. A 10 out of 10, I agree. We give this one a 5 out of 10. Next up, we have the Red Eyes Cybernetic Dragon. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from the hand by tributing a level 7 Red Eyes monster equipped with an equip card. Whoa, this card better be amazing for that effect. When this card battles another monster, during damage calculation, increase attack of this card by half the attack of your opponent's monster. This card is unaffected by the effects of spell cards. So it's basically another Metamorphosis card, except it actually has the Metamorphosis effect and also has niche protection. Honestly, spell protection's pretty good because most board breakers are spell cards. The problem is that it has Metamorphosis attack gain effect only during your attacks, just like Metamorphosis. If it gained on both, this wouldn't be a half bad beat stick, especially since there are Red Eyes cards that can equip pretty easily. Next card, we have Disgraceful Charity. Banish 2 cards from your hand face down. Draw 3 cards. You can only activate 1 Disgraceful Charity per turn. This card's pretty good. I would play this in all of my FTK decks. Literally every single FTK deck I have, I'd play this. Only at 1 copy though, because it's a hard once per turn. No, it banishes as a card's face down, but still it cycles 3 from your deck generically. That's super good. I can just like use 2 of my bricks. Yeah, free unbrick. Yes, please. Hell yeah, this is awesome. I give this a 10 out of 10. I want this. Next up, we have Time Thief Time Portal. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Time Thief monster from your deck to your hand. X, Y, Z monsters you control that have Time Thief card material cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. If you X, Y, Z summon a monster, except do the damage step, you can target 1 card on the field. Attach that card to 1 XYZ monster you control as a material. That's a pretty good Time Thief card. Whoa, for free? It's a pretty good Zeus card. Oh yeah. I love XYZ import. Me too. I like it with my Crazy Box deck. Okay, next up we have Time Thief Magnet Knife. If you control 2 or more Time Thief XYZ monsters with different names, target 1 XYZ monster you control. Attach 1 random card from your opponent's hand to that monster as a material. Whoa, it's a hand rip. Man, I like this card. The condition is definitely harsh enough for this effect. It's harsh enough where I bet they probably wouldn't even play it, but it's still a good effect. As someone occasionally plays Time Thief, that's a nice card to have. Yeah, exactly, that's what I was thinking. Okay, Time Thief Transponder. If you control a Time Thief monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Time Thief spell trap from your deck to your hand. If this card is detached from the material of an Xyz monster you control to activate or resolve an effect, you can add this card to your hand. Oh, that's pretty good. That's really good. You see, part of the reason Time Thieves suck is because their main combo revolves around basically a rescue rabbit, where you need to have a clear field in order to use it, and the special summons 2 Time Thieves from your deck, but you can stop it with an Ash Blossom, and that's all their plays for the turn. This doesn't really help that problem, but it might. Yeah, it's a nice recycling effect. It's like Time Thieves still have the same problem they've always had, in that they relied on their 1 normal summon and they can't do without it. Time Thief Snatcher. 2 level 4 Time Thief monsters. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can detach all materials from this card, min 2, and target 1 monster your opponent controls. Take control of it until the end of this turn, and if you do, treat it as level 4 monster this turn. Then, if you control another level 4 monster, immediately dissolves XYZ summon 1 rank 4 monster using those monsters, then attach this card as a material. You can only expect 1 per turn. It's like that one... the nuns? What are they called? Exorcisters. It's like that one Exorcister card. Whoa, your voice is cracking a little bit and I've never heard of the Time Thief archetype. What? No, it's not. My voice is perfect. Fallen one of the 6 elements. Ooh, it's level 9. So, this one was drawn by an artist who draws their own custom cards. They said this was made to be like a 6 element card. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned by its own effect. You can banish 6 monsters on your side of the field or in either graveyard. 1 water, 1 earth, 1 wind, 1 fire, 1 light, and 1 dark. Special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. Ooh. This card gains the following effects depending on the number of different attributes amongst monsters in either player's field and or graveyard. 1+, gains 1000 attack for each attribute present amongst the monsters in either player's field or graveyard. 3+, this card becomes unaffected by your opponent's card effects. 5+, once per turn, quick effect, you can declare an attribute. This card gains a declared attribute. Also for the rest of this turn, your opponent can activate the effects of cards that share an attribute with this card. Oh my god, it's VFD. And 6+, you contribute 6 monsters on the field, each with different attributes, banish all cards in your what? It's a VFD at 5+ cards. It's a VFD at home, and it has 5,000 attack. It's a 5,000 attack VFDer. That's pretty cool. I give this one a 6 out of 10. It's a fun, neat card, full of adventure for all. Next one, Fell Eyes Plagued Dragon Rider. It is a level 3 Dragon Tuner. This card is always treated as a Red Eyes card. This card is also treated as a warrior type. If you control a Red Eyes card, you can special summon this card from your hand. I don't know if you guys know this, but the reason all these cards are also treated as warrior is because Slash Dragon equips warrior monsters from the graveyard to itself to use it. So they're also meant to be used with Slash Dragon. If you control a Red Eyes card, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is used as a fusion material for a fusion monster listing a Red Eyes card as a material, you can add 1 Fell Eyes Plagued Dragon Rider from your deck to your hand, or set a Red Eye spell trap from your deck. You can only use effects once per turn. What, in Duel Links? Yeah, the only reason Fell Plague plays Red Eyes is because he tried Duel Links for a little bit, and that was like an easy structure deck you could build. Wow, amazing. That's a pretty good effect. Whoever helped you make these did a good job. The Red Eyes Last Resort. Pay half your LP and banish 1 Red Eyes monster from your graveyard. Set 1 self-destruct button directly from your deck. Then, if you banish a Fell Plague monster, it can be activated this turn. Also, you can apply one of these effects depending on the original name of the banished monster. Fell Plague the Red Eyes Squire, half your life points. Fell Plague the Red Eyes Lord, pay life points so you only have 100 left. Oh my god, this card is broken. It's a self-destruction. The thing is, since it sets a card from your deck, it gets around Ash Blossom because it doesn't add the card to your hand. This is basically a self-destruct button searcher that also activates self-destruct button. This one's too good. It's broken. We can't have broken cards in this game. Next up, we have Bird of the Blue Roses. If this monster is in your graveyard, you can banish it. Special summon 1 plant type monster from your graveyard. Oh my god, it's a Mezuki for plants. I love it. 10 out of 10. I love plants. Now once per turn, just like Mezuki. Last Man Standing. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned except by its own effect. Once per game, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard when your life points reach 0, in which case you do not lose the duel. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to a special summon of this card. Also, if it is their turn, they cannot declare an attack for the rest of this turn. This card's effects cannot be negated under any circumstances. I like that line. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. If this face-up card leaves the field, you lose the duel. Yeah, no matter the situation. It has the effect of Mask of Restrict. I love this custom card because it creates a whole bunch of ruling nightmares. Like, what if you manage to remove this card from the field in some way which doesn't trigger its lose effect? How do you resolve the game with still having 0 life points? The trick is you don't. That's why I don't have any cards in the game that prevent you from losing the duel if you have, 0 life points. Oh, there are some magic cards that do that, but like they're like continuous effects on the field where if they're removed and the effects, go through immediately. Is this the Reality Marble? Divine Serpent Gea? Yeah, there's lots of anime cards that do it. There's no real cards that do it. 6 Element Guy, last effect I cut. It banishes all cards in your opponent's hand and field face down. Oh, yeah, that's definitely worth the effect. Oh my god, Matthew's Special Seal. They're a staple of the custom card reviews. You guys probably don't remember that because custom card reviews were a thing I used to do before I started streaming over on Twitch. And I used to do them every week. And he would send in cards all the time. You guys are all new fans. You guys don't remember the good old days when I used to be a custom card reviewer. I have a question. What if you're dueling and lost against someone that activated an anime version of Circle of Orichalcos, where whoever loses will lose their soul? Oh my god, I would be sure to freaking play Floodgate so I wouldn't lose. Because they did best of ones in the anime. If it's used for Xyz material, it doesn't count as leaving the field. Yeah, exactly. You can use Xyz materials to get this card off the field. Oh my god. Guys, it's Cyberstine's Dr. Stine. Is Chaz Johnson still in chat? I am here. Hello there, Chaz Johnson. Look, it's your card. Let's see what this card does. The 3rd best. No, I'm the 5th best custom card reviewer. You idiot. So, it's a level 4 tuner. When this card is summoned, you can discard 5 cards from your deck that chooses which ones that you can summon 2 monsters from your deck or graveyard or banish zone or hand to your side of the field in attack position, and their effects get added to this card without paying life points to use their own effects. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by battle card effects, you can summon this card to your opponent's field in defense mode with 0 attack, with 100 attack and defense, and it can't be changed. So it allows you to send 5 cards from your deck to the graveyard. I assume the top 5 cards. And then you can summon 2 monsters from your deck, your graveyard, or your bandage zone. Then you can put them on each side of the field in attack position. Then this card gains their effects. And not only does it gain their effects, if those effects require you to pay life points to use their effects, no, they don't. So you can basically copy Stine's effect. This card is busted. It's so ridiculously strong. And it's a tuner too? Oh my god, yeah, Foolish 5. It also special summons 2 monsters from anywhere and can gain the effects of 2 cards, and also it doesn't have to pay life points if it required life points. Excellent card, 10 out of 10. Great job, Chaz Johnson. Next up, we have Ghost Witch and Misty Maple. Ooh, this one looks nice. So, I'm assuming this is a hand trap because it has 0 attack and 1800 in defense. Zombie Tuner. During the end phase, if your opponent controls 3 or more monsters, quick effect, you can discard this card, add 1 normal spell trap from your deck to your hand. And if you do, skip your next draw phase.
What?
Oh my god. You can only use the effect of Ghost Witch and Misty Maple once per turn. When activating this effect, you can also discard 1 card from your hand. And if you do, your opponent can activate cards or effects of the same original type as a discarded card in response to this card's activation.
Thanks for wasting your bits on absolutely nothing.
Holy
you
shit.
idiot.
That scared me. I was like, oh shit. Did she join call or something? I had her custom record that one. I don't know how to do the art cards. Someone got DDD Doom card. I think, whatchamacallit, I don't have a problem with like AI art like as a concept. So like if someone uses AI art, I'm like, whatever. The only problem with AI art, in like my opinion, is that, wait, sorry logs, I made this card so people will stop making fun of me to draw the out. No. I was talking about like AI art. The only problem with AI art that I like really agree with is the fact that they just like steal other people's art in order to train their algorithm. They're like, they're AIs. I was like, well, I mean, if you're gonna have a trained AI program, you might as well own the art for all the cards that are, all the art that's put into it to train it. If you're just stealing other people's art in order to train it, I can agree why that's kind of like sus. But the idea behind AI art itself, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. AI art has legitimate use for advancement art, but it's being used by idiots and elitist scumbags the same way NFTs were. I think AI art is just straight up a more valuable thing than NFTs. So even if people are using it as scumbags right now, the inherent value of this will probably stick around, whereas NFTs won't because people figure out, oh, they're just a scam. Anyways, this card is literally just draw the out. It's amazing. This card would 100% see competitive play. It's very good. Basically, if your opponent sets up a board of monsters, you can search for your out, and then you can make it so your opponent can't negate it if you just discard a monster. Or if they don't have any negates, you can just search out whatever. Like if your opponent sets up a bunch of floodgates, you can just use this. Just draw the out. Yeah, this is very good. It's kind of like triple tactics thrust. Just left arm offering without losing your hand. Yeah. Oh my god, this is so good. Doesn't this find grass? It finds anything. Any normal spell trap from your deck. That's basically all the good cards. This card can activate IRL with some light restrictions. I think this card is awesome. It'd probably get banned though. It's too good. I have to give this one a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, whoever made this. I don't know who it is. Wait, who made this card? Tell me, who made this card? Is whoever made this card in chat? Thank you. Naren? Okay, that's fine. If it was actually Latios who made the card, I would have called it garbage and a 0 out of 10. But since it's Naren, that's fine. Why do you hate Latios? Oh, let me tell you why. Anyways. Toadoli Unforgettable? 2+ level 2 water monsters. Can only be XYZ summoned. Once during the end phase, you can attach a frog or toad monster from your deck or graveyard amongst the banished cards. This card is next said material. You can only use the following effects of Toadoli Unforgettable once per turn. If your opponent activates a card while this card has a toad monster attached to it as an XYZ material. Quick effect, you can negate the effect, and if you do, attach and negate a card to this card as an XYZ material. If this card has a frog monster attached to it as an XYZ material, quick effect, you can fusion summon 1 frog monster by using this card, as well as any number of XZ materials treated as a fusion material. Fusion. Alright, so it's a slightly more balanced Toad, funnily enough. Okay, Toadoli Unforgettable. We'll give this one a 5 out of 10. Mine didn't make it. I'm so sorry, Ramtho free to play. I did not pick the cards this time around. I made my custom card council pick the cards for me. So the fact that yours were missed is not my fault. It is the people in the custom card council. You can blame them. I'm unblameable. I've beaten the system. Next up, we have Magic Loke Wanderer. Special summon this card as a monster card. A level 4, 1800 attack. And if you do, add 1 Magic Loke card from your deck to your hand. This card is still treated as a Spellion card. You can only activate one Magic Lug Wanderer once per turn. So it summons itself as a card? Oh, this is really good. This is basically a level 4 monster on the board. This would be played in all kinds of decks. If you played this with, whatchamacallit, this is a really good card. It's basically a generic level 4 special summon from the hand. Currently, there is a trap card. I'm blanking on the name right now because I'm bad with names. It's a Phantom Knight card where it special summons itself as a level 4 monster to your board, and it can be activated the turn it's set if you control no trap cards in the graveyard, and it does see lots of competitive play. And this is a spell card version of that, so it's very good. This is an incredibly good card. I give it a 5 out of 10. Good job. And we're back here at the beginning. Oh my god, guys.